These tariffs will result in half.
Lumber is
reclaiming my time. You don't get to talk.
Lumber is at a 5-year low, Congresswoman.
Reclaiming my time.
Let's just have the facts,
reclaiming my time. Secretary Bessent, will you be the voice of reason in the administration and urge Trump to stop waging a war on American consumers and on housing or affordability and putting the economy at risk?
I believe the ranking member does not understand the definition of generalized inflation versus one-time price increases.
Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
Was a mass
reclaiming
unfettered immigration.
Mr. Chair, will you let him know that when I ask
time does belong to the housing woman from California.
10 and 20 million immigrants.
Can you shut
the housing?
Gentleman's time has expired.
No, my time has not expired.
Your time has expired. And the gentleman
took up my time. I think you should recognize that, Mr. Chair.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Secretary Bessent, in the FSOC annual report, you stressed the importance of economic growth to promote financial stability. While you noted many ways you plan to deregulate Wall Street and plant the seeds for another crisis, you said little about the harms of inflation. I find this odd, as the President and you have finally began discussing in the media how the price of goods are way too high. Notably, you mentioned that tariffs may need to come down to lower costs for Americans. So I have a few questions about this. As a former hedge fund manager in 2004, and I don't want you to go into any long details about this, but did you write a letter to investors raising concerns about the impact of tariffs, writing that, quote, tariffs are inflationary? Did you say that at that time, yes or no?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a New York Times article that, agrees that you said that.
New York Times.
Then last summer, when you testified before a Senate committee, you said, and I quote, there is no inflation. Tariffs are not being passed on to consumers. You were quite definitive and even claimed that critics had, quote, tariff derangement syndrome. Well, those comments are at odds with the statement you made to investors that tariffs are inflationary. Again, I want to be clear, so just let me ask you, are tariffs inflationary, yes or no?
According to the San Francisco Federal Reserve, with 150 years of data,
yes or no?
Tariffs do not cause inflation. San Francisco Federal
Well, last
Reserve,
November, as the Trump administration finally began to realize that affordability issues in America are not a hoax, you told Fox News that the government was going to reduce tariffs on goods like coffee and bananas, and that doing so would, quote, bring the prices down very quickly. Mr. Secretary, why was that announcement even necessary? If tariffs aren't inflationary, and as you and the President like to say, are paid for by the foreign country, a tariff on coffee or bananas shouldn't raise the price of either for American consumers. Well, that's the Trump logic, but that isn't reality. It did raise prices across the board, and you know it. I think you knew back in July also. The real question is, why would you even impose a tariff on a good that a country doesn't grow or make, as that would only serve to punish the American consumer? Now, as you know, this committee has taken a bipartisan approach to addressing another real affordability crisis, housing. Rents are too high, there aren't enough houses. However, one clear reason that the housing crisis has grown worse is that you and the rest of the Trump administration levied tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel, as well as appliances. These tariffs will result in half.
Lumber is
reclaiming my time. You don't get to talk.
Lumber is at a 5-year low, Congresswoman.
Reclaiming my time.
Let's just have the facts,
reclaiming my time. Thank you. However, one clear reason that the housing crisis has gone worse is that you and the rest of the Trump administration levied tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel, as I said, as well as appliances. These tariffs will result in 500,000 fewer homes built at a time when we need more homes built, not less. Trump single-handedly made housing more expensive. And once again, you know it, as Axios has reported that you were planning to lift tariffs on housing production goods. In addition, the unlawful campaign the Trump administration has waged with ICE and Border Patrol, terrorizing American communities, has also harmed home construction across America. So I ask you, Secretary Bessent, will you be the voice of reason in the administration and urge Trump to stop waging a war on American consumers and on housing or affordability and putting the economy at risk? Yes or no? You don't have to explain.
Representative Waters,
will you be the voice?
Will
you be the voice?
Will you be the voice
of inflation? Will you be the voice of reason? Will you be the voice of reason?
A study from Wharton University
reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
Was a mass unfettered immigration.
Mr. Chair, will you let him know that when I ask him
time does belong to the gentlewoman from California.
10 and 20 million immigrants
took
up the housing stock of working Americans, and can you maintain some level of dignity?
Gentleman's time has expired.
No, my time has not expired.
Your time has expired. And the gentleman
took up my time. I think you should recognize that, Mr. Chair.
The gentlewoman's time has expired. The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Well, if you
Chair, parliamentary
inquiry.
The chair recognizes the vice chairman of the committee, Mr.
If you want to
parliamentary inquiry.
Go right ahead, but I would not expect you to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I will grant very briefly any time that you feel like you need to address anything.
Again, I think the ranking member does not understand.
Mr. Secretary, I'm sorry. The gentleman will suspend. There's a parliamentary inquiry. Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Chair, will you enforce the rules of this committee so that the time belongs to the questioner and prevent filibusters from taking time away? And if those filibusters by the witness do take time away, will you allocate additional time?
I will enforce the 5-minute rule.
I want my time back.
The gentleman from Michigan is recognized.
I grant briefly anything that you feel you need to address.
I believe the ranking member does not understand the definition of generalized inflation versus one-time price increases. I would also note that housing, especially for working Americans, a Wharton study has shown that the mass unfettered immigration, adding 10 to 20 million new people demanding housing, Congresswoman, is what caused a great deal of housing inflation for working Americans. So you and the Biden administration should be ashamed.
Which is also why we are seeing rents. There was just a recent media story on this. Rents are going down partially because of that enforcement. So Mr. Secretary.
Yes, supply and demand continues to work.
I've got a number of issues I got to hit. Very briefly here on FSOC, I need to talk then Burma and 3%. You talked about with the chairman about regulators using tailored market approach tools. How are you ensuring that FSOC's current work continues to prioritize activity-based, transparent, analytically rigorous approach grounded in cost-benefit analysis and coordination with functional regulators when evaluating potential risks in non-bank financial markets?
That is done primarily for small banks through the Office of the Controller of the Currency and the FDIC. And those chairs are intent on tailoring the rules for small banks so that we do not have another 50% decrease in Main Street lending.
All right, thank you. You outlined as part of the 4 goals, protecting, number 2 was protecting from cyber attacks. We have seen a rise in those cyber attacks in scam centers in Burma. And I applaud you and Treasury for some of your work in that, including sanctioning North Korean individuals, selling weapons to the Burmese military regime, as well as the Democratic Korean Benevolent Army, a Burmese army group that has organized these scam centers. However, last week it was reported that Iran was secretly shipping vast amounts of jet fuel in Burma And I need to move through this quickly here, but that's why last year I introduced a bipartisan legislation that would specifically require the president to determine whether to impose stronger blocking sanctions on Myanmar oil and gas, Myanmar Economic Bank, and foreign persons operating in the jet fuel sector of the Burmese economy. I read recently that Treasury responded to Reuters' report by noting that Iran's quest for, quote, new markets is a sign that President Trump's policies are working, which I would agree. I'm also aware that Burma's military leaders have attempted to gain favor with the president, especially when it comes to lowering tariffs levied on his country. This is something that simply cannot happen. I represent a significant Rohingya population and know that the active bombing that is going on is unacceptable. And I believe we must continue to impose strict sanctions on the Burmese military rulers. What tools can Treasury use to punish both Iran and Burma for violating both U.S. and other Western country sanctions?
Well, with respect to Iran, President Trump, upon entering office, instructed U.S. Treasury to implement a maximum pressure campaign, and we saw the fruits of that campaign in December as the Iranian economy has collapsed. Yep. We had a large bank collapse there. The central bank was forced to bail it out, created inflation, and the brave Iranian people have taken to the streets. We continuously monitor trade between two countries like that. The good news would be Iran has a significant shortage of dollars to buy, whether it is weapons or goods for the people, or to pad the Swiss bank accounts of the Iranian regime.
We've got to keep the pressure up on Iran, but also that pressure on the Burmese junta, please. Lastly, I'd be remiss if I did not thank you in public for your discussion of a desire to lower the deficits to 3% of the GDP. I've introduced, along with 14 of my colleagues from the Bipartisan Fiscal Forum that I chair with Congressman Scott Peters out of California, that urges the House to achieve this 3% goal by 2030, a tangible, achievable goal that is desperately needed, and we're building consensus here in the House. I know you and the administration take the ticking debt bomb seriously, and I hope that to continue this conversation with you. I don't know if you can, in 10 seconds, address
I look forward to
3%.
working with you on that, and I would note that the deficit to GDP, calendar year 2024, 7%, highest, not at war, not in recession. Calendar 2025, down to 5.4%.
Gentleman's
I
time
yield
has
back.
expired.